Welcome to the HoCo Cyber Collective Podcast, where community, technology, and stories converge.
Thanks everyone. Happy New Year. We're trying to kick this off, get our weekly meetings go. I'm joined currently by Josh. Happy New Year, Josh.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, we're hoping. We just got an email from Bob Zhang, who's we're setting up to have a pitch competition where we actually, as I understand it, Dr. Calvin Ball is going to be there as one of the judges. So we're hoping that if anyone else wants to join, that they'll run through the pitch deck. And Josh, since you graciously volunteered to show up. My thought was that we'll do a very clear part of the video that's your pitch, and then I'll just clip that portion of the video and send it to you. So you'll have a copy. I can upload it to our YouTube channel, where we could have a playlist where instead of imagine if you had a recording of your pitch that you're really happy with, because again, this is our platform. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Instead of you having to go through your pitch with your email, you could have just like a QR code or
I actually already have that on my site.
There you go.
My business card has a QR code on it. So this is a idea that everyone can use. It has a QR code on it that goes to a URL on my site, which I then redirect wherever I want it to go. Right now, it goes to my investor page, which has a video of my pitch.
That's pretty slick. It is. I'll say it again. If you know how to use the tools that are available, something like that would have been profoundly unthinkable 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Oh, here, go to this website and how many minutes long video is it?
That one's about 11.
Okay. Yeah, that for any younger people, that just you couldn't do that. And now it's a service that the pieces that's the stuff you can build, the computers that I'm using in my lab are less than $100 at this point. And they've got a quad core processor, 16 gigs of memory, wireless, gigabit Ethernet. They've got a solid state drive in them. So they're, thousands of times faster than the normal thing. And the only problem is that it's really hard to hook up USB-C equipment because they're used and it wasn't invented at the time. So there's so many adapters. And I learned HP had their own version of HDMI DisplayPort. And so I just ordered like 6 more VGA to DisplayPort because that was the only option. So, but yeah, I like building stuff out of wood, at least because when you're building something, and you can attest to this in software, when is it done? I mean, it's never really done, is it? It's something, or do you have the discipline to, as you're developing this? So actually, can you just share what you're working on right now?
Yeah. So over the last 5 years, I developed an architecture that allows for basically encrypting all the data on a server in a way that makes it completely impenetrable to server-based compromise. And it's a distributed ledger type technology that runs out of the local browser using WebAssembly. And the architecture is extraordinarily strange compared to typical servers, which means I've had a difficult time finding developers who are willing to tackle it. And the last developer I had flaked on me.
Oh.
And yeah. And so after I let him go and then tried to find a new one and failed, couldn't find anyone I was satisfied with and was willing to come work for me for the money I had. And so I also was looking for investors, and for some strange reason, people don't want to give me money for just an idea and a dream. I guess
a really
it's not
good
99
idea,
anymore. Yeah. And but I've got this well-developed architecture. And so what I'm doing is I'm using, of course, AI, Copilot, and stuff like that, and building it out piece by piece since I have the entire map of what I need. And it's uh, so long as I do it in small functions, very small steps, it tends to be okay. Although it's sort of funny, after I'm in one chat for a while, I've noticed that the AI starts to go wonky and do weird stuff. So that's my signal for starting a new chat.
That's funny. Um, so do you just as a side, because we can't help but talk
Yeah,
about AI, is Copilot is what you're using?
yes. I'm using Visual Code and Copilot is built in.
Okay.
And so that's like it's like $10 a month, which seems
If
cheap
you
to me.
don't mind, could you share your screen and just show us instead of describing us, if only there was a
Sure.
way that you could show us exactly.
Sure, I actually have it. This is what I'm working on right now. You should be able to see Copilot.
Okay. Okay, so
So
you use
this,
the same coding
yeah.
platform I do.
So this is the so my architecture has a very simple server. The server functions as a repository, and then all the heavy lifting of a system is done using in the local browser using WebAssembly coded in Rust.
Gotcha. And this over here is the
Yeah,
Copilot stuff.
this is the Copilot, and so I'm working on my authentication process, which basically needs to get some critical values, which then get encrypted into this one packet, which sits on the server. And it, because of my own poor decisions in naming things, the AI is getting confused between different systems. And so I had to go and clarify what I was looking for. And now, so that it can, what I'm trying to do is get it to spit these values out so I can confirm that it's actually extracting them properly.
This is interesting. Out of interest, I wonder, I've heard that the best way to do it, that the vibe coding stuff that you can you can hack together a pretty good prototype, but
Hmm.
if a non-programmer, and again, I speak as a solid C undergraduate comp sci major, but
Yeah,
I understand the concept of object-oriented
yeah,
programming, pointers, passing values. So I can talk to an AI that could write way better code,
yeah.
or at least produce better code than I could. Um, are you, and this is just built in, do you keep copies of, does it write the code or do you take turns
It
or how does it work?
so it writes the code unless it's starting to cycle where it solves a problem. There's a problem, it solves it one way, which doesn't
And it
work, then it
rewrite,
solves it a different way that doesn't work, then it solves it a third way that doesn't work, then it solves it the original way that doesn't work, and it
right.
starts cycling. In that
I'm
case, I
interested to
will
hear
go
how much
in.
time it saves versus, because that's the one
Well,
criticism I've
it's I
heard.
would say I would say infinite because there's no possible way I could do this otherwise.
True. You have a intern, a very cheerful intern that periodically deletes the entire code repository
Yeah.
because
Well,
shucks.
it
But
sort of feels more like being on a project team where you are the product owner, the product manager, and you are in a meeting with the or you're sort of two-person side-by-side coding with a really good coder. And so
right.
you're talking about your ideas, who the coder then types it up for you.
You literally described the process that I used to make my prototype because unlike
Yep.
you, and back in the olden days of 4 years ago, I would have killed to have had an AI like assistant
Hmm.
to try to hack something together. But I'll give a shout out, Montero Networks. It's a engineering firm. I basically was looking for someone who could build this idea because
Yeah.
I could describe my architecture, but I could not build it. And if I tried,
Yeah.
it just what you don't want me building it. So the trick was that's a skill set. Software developers are not like like a regular engineer that works with cybersecurity. They can't build this stuff,
Yeah.
probably. Um, but we had a project management meeting where they had weekly things where he was like a human AI. He was my human intelligence where I described via a prompt, we'll call it, what I wanted, and then he worked for about a week at a time, and then eventually we had a working prototype.
Yeah.
And the final step was he had to teach me how to deploy it so
Hmm.
that I wasn't completely dependent on there. Now, through just sheer, I'm back in the command line, I'm doing stuff in Linux because I have this sort of
Yeah.
AI helper. So if you tell it to do something, it's going to
Well,
basically delete everything that's in the active frame that you have here.
I mean, it can go and edit any of the files on the left here.
Oh, okay.
Anything in this workspace, it actually has, or it has easy access to. So it will go through like the last change I did. It updated the key vaults.rs there. It did the key vaults RS and the auth2 RS. For those who don't know, RS is just the extension for Rust code. So it depending on what I ask it to do, it will edit multiple files. And so one of the big issues that I've run across is that uh, I'm using well, I said I'm using WebAssembly with Rust. And the problem with my requirements is that WebAssembly is isolated from the hardware, which means you can't rely on system interrupts to wake up a program. So wait doesn't exist in Rust.
Gotcha.
And however, the WebAssembly module still needs to be able to trigger things independently on its own accord without being prompted by JavaScript to check things,
Okay.
which is not what WebAssembly is designed to do. So
But can it do it?
well, yes, if you set it up for an infinite loop inside the code.
While loops are a perfectly acceptable method of,
Yep.
while true,
Ab
go.
well, yes. And the problem is that doing that,
Break.
JavaScript can't talk to it. It won't pay attention to anything in JavaScript. So that basically makes it a black box where nothing can get in, nothing can get out,
This
or
is
something
why
can
I
get
was
out.
a C undergraduate.
Yeah.
See,
And
I
so,
I intellectually understand what you mean and why this is a for real problem that
yeah.
definitely needs to be solved. And I wish you well on that one.
Well,
But no, this
I
is
mean,
fascinating to see because I this looks very familiar, but I've been the way I've been doing it is that I'm worried about putting AI directly into anything that I'm working on. Call me a human supremacist, but
mhm. Oh, no,
I've
absolutely.
I've heard too the fact that every time you click submit, there is a non-zero chance that the AI could go crazy
Hmm.
and hallucinate deleting an entire code repository. There are ways that you can set up, as I understand it, to make that less likely to
Yeah.
happen. But it's like a code review where I review the code, paste it in, try to understand what the heck it's doing before I hit run. So I don't, so if the AI says, yeah, delete all
Yeah.
directories, I can say, no,
Yeah.
do that. But, this is pretty slick. And I can see how if you build like little utilities and stuff like that, which that the thing that like the one thing that I've built that is it's like a 3-line bash script that I wrote for my
Hmm.
wife that when she went remote and she turned on her computer for the first time on a day, she wasn't on her university's network, so her map drives would break and they would stay broken and it completely disrupted her workflow. And I knew enough to create a little script. You run this every
Yeah.
time, and bloop, it's going to remap your drives, and you're done. I'm a hero of my
Yep.
team because of this. This is the best thing ever. And I'm like, well, cool. You can do a lot with that.
Hmm.
So
Well,
your
one of
goal is to build. So what's your goal? Is it to build a working
so
prototype or?
yes, my goal is to build a working prototype and demo. So the goal for this year is actually to do a capture the flag type hacking event
Ooh,
where what I'm building is like an address book slash CRM type interface, very, very, very simple. Yeah, where you
a
just put in email.
data repository.
Yeah, something where the user can put in information
Yeah,
in the
it's a
same
homegrown app,
screen.
basically. It's
Yeah,
just
in the same. So the top part is where you put the data. The bottom part will be our live servers.
okay.
Actually, multiple users, everything we have, 100% of what we have. And I will offer people the source code of the system.
Okay.
And the challenge will be there's an account in here with this name. I have put in this field a value. If you get me that value, you win, and tell me how you get it. You will win $10,000.
I like that. You want to,
And I am certain they won't be able to do it.
what if you paired that with Guard Tower? That would be kind of neat. If you were fake,
Yeah.
if suddenly there was your system and then there were like a dozen fake versions of your systems and it's
Hmm.
like neener neener. We didn't
Yep.
tell you there was a minefield or something like that's pretty slick. How do you set something like that up?
Well, that's the base, that's the fundamentals of my system.
Look, I'm sorry, wrong question. Um, how does
How do I
one set up a
advertise?
competition, or do you partner
I
with the
don't know.
school?
That's about, so I'm going to be publishing it everywhere I can think of. And
Okay,
it'll just be an ongoing thing. And the real intent is to develop sort of name recognition to both for investors and for potential clients.
gotcha. Quick question: do you have any sort of patent or intellectual property protection on any of your tech?
I have
Apologize if I.
three patents in the works.
Okay. And when did you submit them? Okay, you submitted them.
About 2.5 years ago.
Okay. Um, then that's totally fine. That the one thing that
Yeah, no, yeah,
my
I would
patent
not
attorney
do the source
hammered
code. I would not
when
do
you
source
say,
code without patents already in place.
gotcha. Um, and I guess the question I would have is your technology. I feel like I'm asking stuff that we've been figuring, so hopefully you have answers for this.
Yeah, and if I
How
don't,
are
then
you
I
planning
should.
on
That's why you need to ask it.
monetizing this technology, or are you
I
planning on monetizing it?
Yes, so this is essentially what I'm aiming to do is it's a hosting environment. You
Okay.
take existing systems or existing SaaS and you run it through our system instead of typical servers. And it basically gets translated into our system, which then hosts things through our encrypted server, through our encrypted packages on a server and all that, and is
Okay.
done held locally. And so my plan on monetization is doing essentially what AWS and other hosting services do is usage. The amount of users you have, how active they are, how many calls they make, how much data you use, and how much compute you use.
Okay. What is the underlying platform that would support? You say hosting. Are you running in AWS or do you have your
Yeah,
own server?
I run on AWS, and the other thing about this is I expect that it will see a 50 to 80% reduction in cloud costs. So I can actually run on AWS and undercut AWS at the same time with added security. And so
How the heck do you do that?
the
That's pretty
it's
slick.
a distributed system where all the compute is provided by the end user for
Okay.
free. And
So it's
the
local.
yes, it's local compute.
And then there's your part up in the
Yeah,
cloud.
and since most SaaS use about 80% of the cost is in the compute, that's where that number comes from.
That's one of the reasons why our solution, Guard Tower, is an appliance-based solution. Where
Hmm.
we in my that was always the problem that we wanted. Where can we deploy this thing? Oh, I got room on my network. I got an old server that
Yeah.
I can use. Oh, okay. Oh, the 20-year-old server that I had didn't work, and therefore your solution is bad and doesn't work. We're not doing that. Here is the box that it will run on. It is pre-installed. You are not touching it. It is an appliance, I guess. And the cool part is that it's completely off the cloud, so we can support air-gapped environments and the whatnot. Because we're protecting where the users are. What would happen if you got 10,000 customers?
So my server, yeah, so I use so I'm on AWS. I use Postgres and RDS Postgres for minimal, basically user verification.
Okay.
Then I use DynamoDB and S3. Both of those are infinitely scalable.
Oh, sure. But you paid for it.
The Well, yeah, you pay for it, but
That's
I
more what
will
I'm
set
getting
up
for. The cloud
my
scales.
I will set up my rates so that I make more. My usage is since it's a usage base and I'm pay based on usage. I just set my rates so that they are higher than what I pay to AWS.
Gotcha. So there's a separate so that you have included a usage fee so that your heavy duty
Correct.
users pay for it, basically,
Correct. Correct.
effectively. Um, okay. Is the I'm if you don't mind, I'd just love to
No, go for
hear
it.
just high level in the future just how those usage things are because Vivek and I have spoken about this at length because his platform, the cloud is fantastic for
Oh
development,
yeah.
stuff like that. It makes total sense. I am, I guess, in my own ways, a dinosaur where we have servers that, or just like what I'm doing, I'm building basically a data center out of desktop computers because
Yeah.
the desktop computers have gotten so ludicrously powerful that I can trivially run software from the 1990s, stuff like,
Oh
basic
yeah.
stuff like DNS. You can
Hmm.
do so much with these things. These computers are considered garbage. My my eventual wish is to get the ability or to build a platform that I can run a local LLM. I know it'll be slower. I
Yeah.
know there's going to be an upfront cost for doing it, but my fear, Vivek told me that he was looking for ideas for reducing his use because he didn't have a monetization plan for the platform. So that's where I came up with the question of
Yeah.
what if you get 10,000 users? Saying we can scale because I'm on the cloud. Well, of course you can scale,
But
but I've heard
you're
horror
scaling a
stories
negative
where
cost, where you're
they
losing
don't
money
have
on each
a
user.
good understand or and these companies are great for startups because they give you all these credits, they give you all these
Yep.
free developments to get you into the platform. And so all of your test is done with just a few users and you're running on your free credits. The second it goes live, again, that's the apocalypse if you hit 10,000 users
Yeah.
because
Well, that's another
that's where your VC
reason.
money is going.
Uh,
You're
well,
paying
that's
for.
another reason I'm doing that capture the flag thing. I'm hoping it will be a scaling test,
That's a
and
pretty
I'm hoping it
great
will
idea,
give.
by the way. We should take this offline because that capture the flag, that guard tower is another one of those things where imagine if you got student capture the flag leagues where they were trying to find ways into our system, and if they find one, we give them a big shiny trophy and a certificate of achievement,
Yeah.
shake their hand. Maybe we'll give them a crisp $100 bill if we're feeling
Yep.
generous. And every year there is a new crop of high schoolers that are going to understand technology in a way that you and I don't because we didn't grow up. It just wasn't invented
Yeah.
when we were children, you know.
Yep.
So That's an awesome idea, by the way. I can also I'll hook you up with one of the people I interviewed earlier. It's the Maryland STEM Festival. It's focusing again. There's a real push from certain schools in the area, and again, Howard County has a number of these programs where they specifically focus on kids who want to learn to code in the schools, kids that want to get into cybersecurity, and these are highly motivated young people that have self-selected into volunteering to do it. That's where you can get interns, frankly.
Yeah.
Um, and there are programs to pay them. I think, that's truly what an internship is actually for, where just to get them to see this sort of stuff and, you know, explain what's happening because you understand why the AI is doing what it's doing a little bit, or at least you can look at the output and say, well, this is
Yeah.
a steaming load of garbage because you already knew how to code, right? Or at
I
least,
knew a little bit. I've never been in a coding class.
okay,
So I'm self-taught, which means I have an
you're an
idea.
enthusiastic amateur.
Exactly, exactly. I like to say gifted amateur.
Well, in all honesty, though, for for all the terrible things that are happening in the world, this is one of those use cases where it's really kind of useful for people. Like, I am not a superstar coder, but again, I can get working things by using AI, either built in like a Copilot or a
Yeah,
ChatGPT, and they're all affordable. Like you said, what, $10 a month?
yep.
Difficult to
And
buy a coder
actually,
for $10
I'm
a month.
and actually I'll be able to get it for free for a year because I'm a working on a master's from Georgia Tech in cybersecurity,
You're a
and
student.
GitHub has a student account.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that you thought of these things because again, that's just one of the places where the success, ironically, is the problem.
Yeah,
Where I at least give a way to pass on because what I've seen is that most cloud hosted solutions don't have a way or an
yeah,
elegant way. They have a licensing cost where they're hoping that their monetary plan is I really, really hope my users don't use my product too much. Because if they do, my AWS bill is going to be this thick and I'm only getting like $1,000 a month in licensing fees from a user that's
hmm
generating $10,000 in compute
yeah.
bills. Like
Well,
that's that's bad.
I mean, there are a number of systems that I'm manipulating and abusing, and I'm sure
No,
the
no, no.
owners
We don't
are.
manipulate and abuse. We leverage the programs that are available and we
That's
follow the
right.
rules as they are clearly written,
Well, I'll
probably,
give you an
as far as
example.
you know.
My other company has maintains 20 to 25 terabytes of backup data.
Wow. Where?
And well, that's the thing, is it is absolutely, and it makes, about 1.5 million a year. So it's a small company. And if I were to back that up to Glacier or something like that, that's multiple thousands of dollars a month just in backup costs.
Not only
And
that, if you had to do a full bare metal restore, how big
mhm.
was that backup you said?
Well, the actual active data is about 4.5 terabytes, but I've
Okay.
got
How much does
replicated
it
time.
cost to back up to restore 4.5 terabytes of data
Uh-huh.
from Glacier? And how big is your pipe?
Yeah.
Because how long does it take I mean, it's better than it used to be, but that's a lot of
Well,
data.
my pipe is 100 megabits per second, so it's not even that big.
Well,
But
and it's
no,
like, did you want to do anything else with that pipe?
well, I don't, yeah.
While you're, that's assuming
Well, if everything's
100%
down,
saturation.
there's nothing, if you're down, there's nothing else to do with it.
No,
But I don't use Glacier. And I've
it makes
got like
sense for
an IT support group and stuff like that that really want me to use their backup system, but it's the same cost. And so I use a homegrown one where I actually use Backblaze.
okay,
Backblaze has a personal accounts,
okay,
which have for $50 a year. have unlimited backup. Now, the reality
When they
is,
say unlimited, what do they mean by unlimited?
technically it is
Infinity
unlimited.
is a big number.
Yeah, in reality, it is throttled to about yeah, 5 or 8 terabytes per week
One of the sales
because of
guys
how
I
they.
used to work with, he had one of the early unlimited plans. And
Uh-huh.
so he would just stream HD movies and he wouldn't even watch them. It was a game to see how much, I think he got up to like 145, like, I don't know if it was terrible. Just they're desperately throttling him to try to stop him from consuming every little bit of data. Do you have anything local? Like the physical location where you are, do you have like
So
local lab stuff or?
so we're talking about multiple companies. My other company with all the backups is in Georgia, and they
Okay.
have an office with a server closet and all of that, and physical servers and things like that. And the reason and we actually need that because again, 20 ter or 5 terabytes of active data because they're going in, our bandwidth just the internet is too slow if we try to
Light
use it on the
speed too
cloud.
slow? Yeah.
Yeah.
This takes a little bit of the shine. This is what my actual
Yeah.
command center looks like. And over here is my pride and joy. I've got three monitors. But I discovered that the strength of the hardware was the wall was not as strong as I thought. And I foolishly bragged to my dad about this thing I'd built out of wood. And then I'm trying to adjust the monitors, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. It's a little lower than it was before, and it slow motion fell into my arms. The whole thing collapsed. And so this morning was desperately spent remounting it to a much larger piece of wood. Um, but now we're
Mm.
going to hide my shame. But actually, Josh, do you have your pitch deck that you're working on
Um,
for the
Let me see if I can pull that up. And also I can, how do I stop sharing? Trying to figure out how to stop sharing.
yeah,
Come on.
if you want to stop sharing, you can take it back once you got what you're working on.
It is not giving me the stop sharing option.
How's that? I am
Oh,
all
better.
powerful on this.
Yes, you are. Now, just as a warning, I haven't practiced this in a bit, so I may be a little rough.
I will give you my one piece of advice that I try to give to all the people who are learning to give presentations. Please, please, please do not begin your performance with an apology. That's
Well,
not
I haven't
you.
started my presentation yet.
No, no, no. Sorry about this. I have just, people do. You'll be fine. And if you're not, you know, listen, there's an audience of potentially dozens of people that might see this.
Yes.
And we can selectively edit the video out before we post it. Um, actually, do you have the information about the pitch competition or the competition that
Not yet. I haven't seen it yet. Bob sent out it basically announced it was going to happen and said there was going to be prize money around it. So,
well,
and
I'm
what
going to
day,
try to
but
have
no
schedule some
details.
more. Oh, did you get the email that I sent out about this morning
Yes,
about?
I did.
Okay, good. I'm setting up exchange distribution groups so that I can just send out emails to specific cohorts or to the whole thing because you can do that, it turns out. Um, and I just want to make sure it's going out. The reason I ask is there's usually a time limit. Do we know how
Hmm.
long it's going to be?
I don't know.
So I'll ask, how about, so here's the idea. You'll be the template for this. Why don't you run through, I'm going to get my phone out and I'm going to time it
Yeah.
so that we can see how long it is. I'm not going to stop you or anything like that, but you have, so just let me know when you're ready and
Yep.
say when.
I'm ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Recently, 250,000 people had their health data stolen from a company called HoCo. But that's nothing. 5.4 million people had their PII stolen from health service provider Episource. Even Krispy Kreme isn't immune. They had 100,000 people have their credit card data stolen. And all of this was in 1 month period. My name is Josh Boutwell, and I'm presenting Mimir's PII hosting solution with data in use protection. Cybercrime is a massive issue, and it's only getting worse. 1 in 5 companies are hacked every single year. For each hack, about 260,000 records are stolen on average. And each PII record costs the company an average of almost $190. This led to $11.5 trillion worth of cybercrime in 2024 alone. 80% of that was from server compromise. And what's even worse, each company that was hacked had an average loss of over $8 million. And health tech has the highest exposure because they have to hold sensitive health data. The fundamental issue is cloud data is not safe. The current best practices, known as zero trust architecture and monitoring, do their best to minimize the risk, but zero trust architecture really hurts usability. And monitoring is difficult to maintain. And the even worst part about it is it doesn't even prevent data theft. When someone ZTA makes it difficult to get into a system, but once they're in, they can exfiltrate data very quickly when they start to. And monitoring may kick them out quickly, but again, it doesn't take long to get sensitive data out once you're detected. And on top of that, this is all very expensive. The fundamental issue is there's no known technical solution to secure PII in the cloud. This is known as data in use protection, and solutions do not exist, at least until now. Let me introduce Mimir's hosting service, BrunerDB, which solves this problem. We are the first to market with a data in use protection and cloud cost reduction hosting environment. We have 3 patent pending technologies which create a distributed end-to-end encrypted database that harnesses the free local compute by using a distributed system so that your users provide the compute. You don't have to pay for it. This makes our databases effectively hack-proof from server compromise. And it's absolutely transparent to the end user. Your user will not know that you're using our system. The result is a dramatically reduced server usage. And we have seen our test system had a 50% reduction in server costs compared to traditional systems. Mimir operates in the intersection of 2 major industries. The first is obviously cybersecurity. We are there to protect data. The second is hosting. Our system provides cloud hosting, and so we will offer that service. We are starting with the cybersecurity because of the very high demand. Again, $11 trillion worth of cybercrime every year. But as we grow, we're going to develop into a general hosting environment because of the larger market. And when I say larger market, I am serious. We are talking $316 billion a year in hosting as the TAM. Now, given our initial product launch, we expect to achieve $62 million in revenue over the next 5 years, which with added growth over time with that. This is our current projections. We are looking at an MVP this year and a SaaS launch in beginning of 2028, in late 2027, early 2028, and perhaps a Series A as early as 2029. Now, of course, there are competitors for our initial product, which is data protection. The problem is the current offerings just don't offer anything like what we can offer. For Zero Trust, there's Zscaler as an example. For monitoring, there's Datadog. And for traditional PII vaulting, which is our initial product, there's Piano. All of these fall well short because they don't provide the data in use protection that Mimir and our technology can offer. We've actually been working on this for about 5 years. The original concept of the technology was in 2020. And by 2023, we had a reasonably fleshed out system and started the patenting process. In 2024, we won an Air Force award to develop this. Last year, we started the POC development and joined the Cyber Howard Accelerator. This year, we are working towards an MVP launch and ideally profit. Our path to profit is fairly straightforward. We're doing our initial development now with the initial product, which is targeting health tech. And then we'll move into the MVP of the SaaS hosting and a Series A after that. Our team is very strong. Myself, my lead developer, and a project manager. In addition, we have numerous advisors and assistants and other consultants that are supporting our team. But what are we actually offering? So SaaS what are the vendors buying? So number one is, of course, the embedded security. Number two is the SaaS savvy. It will be easy to implement in any existing SaaS system. But really, we're also offering a competitive pricing model based off of usage. And we anticipate our minimum profit margin to be about 40% before we start selling add-ons like for additional security and monitoring and things along those lines. But the question is, what are you investing in? Number one, our industry-defining data and use protection technology. That is what you're able to buy into right now. This will help us expand the team and lead to a commercial BrunnerDB version. With a commercial launch in this year, with explosive growth in 2027 and an expected Series A or even a potential acquisition as early as 2028 or 2029. We are seeking a $500,000 on a convertible note. And we plan on using the funds to finalize the development and build SDKs and launch the product for the initial clients. At this point, do you have any questions?
Bravo.
I think you're muted. Yeah, there we go.
9 minutes and 5 seconds.
That's what I had as well.
Yep. As an aside, just as a thought, probably want to update the target close for the
Yes,
ask.
no,
Um,
absolutely. Like I said, I haven't, haven't updated it in a little
it
bit.
reminds me I need to check my slides as well. No, I liked it. Um, so I liked how you explained it and how I'll do the plus delta thing.
Yeah,
Um, I like the level of detail, how you were explaining, sort of building the story on that. Um, the one delta I would do, and this is because it's not going to be 9 minutes, I can assure you on that.
no, no.
That usually it's about 4 or 5, and that's fine. And again, I'll clip this part for you, for the Q&A so you can have it. That's right where I was. Actually, you did better than me. I was 8.5 minutes in, and I was still trying to
Hmm.
describe the market. Um, the one delta, again, to try to do that, I'll pass on some things that I've
Yeah,
learned from my mentor, which is try to have each slide be 2 sentences. And
yeah.
that's challenging, I will freely say. Um, I will tell you, making something shorter is actually easier than you may think. Because yeah, I have to fit into the 4 minute or 5 minute or what. That's why I was asking if we knew,
Yeah.
because you've done pitch competitions. They pull
Yeah,
out the
they're either very short. I've never been asked to do a 4 or 5 minute one. I've asked to do a 7 minute one, a bunch of 10 minute ones, and even had a 15 minute one.
I had to do a 30-second one.
Well, that's your
You want to
elevator
know how
pitch.
that one?
So,
It actually, no, you know, if you're interested, it was around increasing your monthly recurring revenue 10 to 15%. Um, I had it down pat. I spent a lot of time,
yeah,
and I get there and they're like, actually, we had extra time. Everybody gets a minute. And I'm like,
that's
really? You
not
know how
helpful.
hard it is to get it down to that low? But I think there's some slides that we're not going to need necessarily.
Yeah. I'll
I
be
liked
customizing this when the details of who's going to be there and how long we'll have, stuff like that.
Yeah. So, do you use PowerPoint or what do you use to make your
Yeah, this
slide?
is PowerPoint.
Okay. I love your animations and everything and how you build the slide because I do the exact same thing. So it's useful for that. The
Yeah.
one piece of advice I will give you, especially it's how many clicks are you doing per slide? And I made the slide build because there were a few times when you were running through where you knew what was going to be said, but you were waiting because there's an animation and you have to wait for it to finish
Yeah.
because if you don't, it's going to look all funky. Little tip that I thought of this myself in in the lower left corner of my slides.
Hmm.
And actually, if I can show you this real quick. Um, this is from one of my pitches that I used before. I think I had it on here. My living nightmare is to lose myself in one of my fancy, slide decks. Um, so let me.
Now, just as a heads up, I have a hard break at noon.
Oh, perfect. Well, actually, that's good. Let's see. Hold on. Ah, wrong keyboard. I got a new setup. All right, share this screen. Share. I am an IT professional. All right. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right. So I will call your attention to the lower right-hand corner of my screen. You see that little triangle?
Yeah.
All right. So a triangle means that click. It's written, nothing is happening. You're now ready to click. It'll disappear. And then
Hmm.
when whatever is going to happen, the triangle reappears with that little line. That means I'm going to advance to the next slide. It's basically just a little extra. And then every time that an animation starts, it starts with it disappears. So click,
Mm, I see what you're doing.
click, click,
Mm.
click. So, because this way you don't get lost. Because
Yeah,
this is a longer one where if you clicked early and now you click, and that's just something I added. It's super easy once you've got templated versions, and it has saved my butt from having longer clicks or not having those
yeah.
awkward pauses. The
Well,
other thing, what?
uh, I also use, so right now I'm on my desktop, which has a trackball with the wheel,
Mhm.
and that's what I was using to advance it. In real presentations, I have a handheld clicker. And so the problem is the trackball is much more wiggly on when it actually signals the next move.
I've
So
forgotten how
the
much time I spent on this thing.
yeah,
Jeez, peasy. Um, the other thing that I've learned also the hard, let me stop sharing. This is just
yeah.
another few tips for us animation likers. Sometimes they'll just say, "Hey, can you send me a PDF of your slide deck?"
Hmm.
And I say, "So if I were you and I was looking, I would have one click build more of your slide, or just consider it's great to have it appear in sequence with your saying it. In my experience, and this will help you cut time, have the whole slide appear basically with a click, and then you're not just reading the slide. The people can read the slide. You're saying,
Yeah.
because we have 4 minutes. You have to be efficient, and sometimes more information can be given during Q&A. In my
Hmm.
experience, if you leave an
Yeah.
obvious thing out, they'll ask you, "Hey, what's the, that sort of thing." And it's just your presentations will be much, much, much easier to make because you don't have to do all these timing issues and you can fill these things. Again, I appreciate, the effort that I know went into building that slide deck, because, PowerPoint, a fellow PowerPoint enthusiast. Um, it's just, I got myself into trouble sometimes
Yeah.
because, oh God, like I would send someone would open it on a different like a Mac. Suddenly,
Yeah.
oh, it doesn't render. Oh, we use Team. We'll open it in Google Slides. Like, you can't do that. It
Hmm.
just mangles it, and more
Yeah.
often than not, it's caused me headaches where I'm like, it's not working. My beautiful animations aren't working. But no, I really appreciate you. Thank you for going through that. I think you got a great start on that. I know
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna be presenting or not. Since I'm technically not in cohort two. You guys get to
Yeah.
go first. I don't know. I think it's fair for me to compete against you guys for the money. But, I'm still taking this opportunity to always refine my pitch.
Hmm.
Um, the new thing we're thinking of talking about is this idea about AI enhanced cyber attacks.
Yeah.
Did you hear about? Is in November? It was the first confirmed large scale espionage campaign that was being run
No, I
using
hadn't heard about
Claude,
it.
and they basically tricked Claude into thinking that they were doing legitimate. So Claude is the victim here, in a
Yeah.
way, but my guard tower can stop that sort of thing. And that's like, okay, I don't really care if it's an LLM at the helm. That just means that you're
Yeah.
working faster. You're still doing the same things. It's just
Hmm.
now my thing is going to light up like a Christmas tree. And
Yep.
so I'm working to figure out how the heck to build a AI enhanced attack agent for demonstration purposes,
Yeah.
that simulates one of these things. So, well, before we sign off, I know do you have anything you want to share or,
No, I mean, well, I did a blog post, like the week before Christmas on the Mongo Bleed hack
oh
or
yeah,
bug.
that's bad.
So, if anyone wants to take a look at it, it's on
Can
my
you send
site.
me a link? I'll post it in
Sure,
the description of the video.
absolutely.
And yeah. And I'm looking forward to 2026. I'm hoping to, we kind of fell off the wagon a little bit with holidays and everything. It's always hard,
Yeah,
but I really want to get back into this is the year where hopefully I'll have, you know, this is something that we've built ourselves, and we can make of it whatever it is we want, just like you're building your own thing. This is my Zoom platform. We're hosting this stuff on YouTube. We have a Discord server. Like, there are tools that when you have a whole group of IT individuals who are all entrepreneurs and all have cybersecurity companies, turns out they know what to do. Yep. So there's the
Yep.
link. I'm going to post that in the description. So we can say, so we'll just sign off. So thanks everyone for checking back in, joining us in 2026. I think it's going to be a very interesting year, if nothing else, for AI and quantum. So hopefully we'll be here to discuss it. And, Josh, thanks for joining us, and talk to you
Yeah.
next week. And
Talk to you
I'll
later.
stop. And, dang it. Amusingly, every single one of my guests always, when I want to say goodbye to them after I hit recording, but now my audience is the only one left. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to the HoCo Cyber Collective Podcast. Stay connected, stay curious, and join us again for our next episode.
Brought to you by the HoCo Cyber Collective.